I put a post on social media yesterday along the lines of asking what some of the major blocks were for people out there doing cold calling. Now, one of the things that got mentioned a few times was the challenge that salespeople have with people who've got broad accents. And this is becoming a real issue and something that I think needs to be dealt with appropriately because we are a multicultural society. So here's a couple of tips for you to consider. First off, you will find that 90% of people that have broad accents actually understand you perfectly. It's just that because they spend so much time immersed in their own communities, the broadness of their accents is maintained. So that would suggest that the issue is yours to deal with. Now, a couple of things I think that will help you, particularly as a real estate beginner. First off, I think as demonstrating respect for a potential buyer, get their name right. Now, if you struggle to understand how they're spelling their name to you, and you know you're going to come up against these calls on a daily basis, do yourself a favor, get onto Google Images. There are a number of options there for the phonetic alphabet, if it's not familiar to you. And download yourself a copy and just make sure you've got it pinned to your desk or blue tacked to your monitor or something for quick reference. So take the time to get the name spelled correctly. And then in brackets after that, you can put the phonetic spelling. Sadly, a lot of people who have strong accents default to using generic names. And I think it's a shame if we don't demonstrate some respect to them and get their name right. The other thing I think that helps, and certainly has helped me in the past, because when you're making a lot of calls, you can't always remember these things. Just put in brackets somewhere in the notes that there is a broad accent here, so that before you go dialing that person next time, you really engage your listening. And also your colleagues, if they need to be speaking to that person, not only do they have the phonetic spelling of their name to get correctly, but also they know that they're going to be tackling a broad accent. So, a little story. A few years ago, I was working with a residential property developer, and the community was of high interest. The community I was making calls for was of high interest to the Indian community. Now, I struggled initially for the first couple of calls, but then I worked out that if I just locked in to being able to understand a couple of frequently used words, then I was able to unravel the rest of the sentence. So rather than going into these calls with resistance or escalating stress levels, just go in thinking, if I can just understand a couple of these words, I'll then be able to fathom it out. So just to close off, remember, make an effort to get the spelling of their name correct and the pronunciation. Spell it out phonetically and put it in brackets for next time. Make a note that you are communicating with the person that has a broad accent for next time. All right, and then make a real effort to understand just a couple of words that they're saying, because I can tell you now, once your brain warms up to it, it actually does very quickly get to understand more about that particular accent. One final thing, don't forget my prospecting mastery course is coming up on the 6th of July. It's particularly designed for beginner real estate agents, so I'm hoping I'm talking to you, and we deal with a lot of these little challenges throughout the course, amongst many other things. So the link is in the post, and I hope we see you there.